Welcome back to the Health Longevity Secrets Show with your host, Dr. Robert Lufkin. His new book, Lies I Taught in Medical School, has just been named to the New York Times bestseller list. And now, please enjoy this week's episode as we ask if architecture can make us sick with Julia Contaldo.
Can architecture not only shape our surroundings, but also extend our lives? Join us today as we explore this profound question with Julia Contaldo, a pioneering architect whose nearly 30 years of experience have led her to uncover the deep connections between our built environments and our health. Julia takes us on a journey through the historical influences on architectural wellness, from ancient Feng Shui practices to today's innovations that aim to replicate the benefits of natural settings within our urban spaces. Discover how integrating health and wellness into the core of architectural design may be the key to addressing modern challenges like the diseases of aging. In this segment, we dive into the world of WELL certification, an emerging standard that assesses buildings for water and air quality, light exposure, acoustics, and more to promote human health. Julia doesn't hold back on discussing the limitations of these certifications, such as their exclusion of fast food and the urgent need for better designed social spaces to alleviate loneliness. Gain insights from the latest Wellness Architecture Conference and get excited about Julia's upcoming projects, including a YouTube channel where she'll unbox wellness products and give tours of spaces optimized for well-being. This episode promises a fresh perspective on how architecture can be a crucial component of preventative healthcare. This episode is sponsored by Liver Health Formula. 1 in 3 Americans have an overworked liver, affecting weight, energy, and sleep. Your liver is bombarded daily with GMOs, sugars, toxins, and more. If you feel sluggish or can't lose weight, try Liver Health Formula. It's a premium supplement with 11 botanicals to detoxify and revitalize your liver. Mr. Harrington says, I was skeptical, but the improvement has been amazing. The tired, foggy feeling is gone, and I have more energy. Disclaimer, results may vary. So try Liver Health Formula and get a free month supply of omega-3s. Visit getliverhelp.com/Lufkin for your free gift. This episode is sponsored by Cyfox Health. One of the most common questions I get asked is which blood tests I check myself on a regular basis. Well, I check 17 biomarkers, but the secret is I'm able to do everything from the convenience of my home. I collect the sample with just a simple finger stick like this. You don't need to be a doctor to do it. Then I just mail it in and wait for the results. Cyfox Health makes it possible. Use the link below to get 15% off. This episode is brought to you by L Nutra, maker of the Prolong Fasting Mimicking Diet. If you'd like to try it, use the link in the show notes for 20% off. And now, please enjoy this week's episode. Hey, Julia, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Hi, Robert.
Well, I'm really excited to dive into architecture and the space we live in and its effects on health and longevity. But I thought before we do, maybe we could just take a moment and tell us a little bit more about your background and how you came to be interested in this particular space.
Sure. I'm an architect. I always wanted to be an architect. I've been doing it for almost 30 years, and I've been licensed in California since 2008. And I worked on a lot of very large projects, mostly aviation, some public work. And at some point, I thought maybe to change a career just because it was too big, too repetitive, and I was looking to branch out and do something else. But on the other side, I always was interested in health and wellness, and I was witnessing how that field develops. And I just kind of had an aha moment that I realized that there is this gap where nobody's looking really into health and wellness in the space, or how architecture in the future should be, or how it should develop to incorporate all the latest and greatest ideas on health and wellness. And so I decided to focus on that.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit offline
Mhm.
before. I'm based in Los Angeles, and you're based here also. And
Yes.
those of you in the area know the our Los Angeles airport is undergoing a huge program
Yes.
with building a people mover, and I know you're involved with that as well.
Mhm.
So we appreciate your hard work on that, and hopefully that will come to fruition before long. But yeah, architecture and health, certainly there's a long history of it from, gosh, all the way back to Feng
Mhm.
Shui in the Chinese, teachings or Asian, East
Mhm.
Asian teachings about the space we live in and everything. And maybe you could talk a little bit about that, or is it there's so many things about the space then what's in the space, like EMF and mold and toxicity there. What is your focus on this, or are you including a little bit of everything?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I do like Feng Shui. I took a few classes. I believe it's very similar to astrology, whether it's good or bad, but it was the beginning of astronomy and space travel and all we have in the space right now. It was based on that, and it was mixed of science and spirituality. And I believe we need to take the best from what was discovered in the past and just apply it to what we do now, not just discard it altogether.
Yeah, and certainly the power of architecture,
Mhm.
can't be underestimated. We've seen it in the past used for spiritual buildings, churches, temples,
Right,
magnificent architecture, where the architecture itself almost contributes to the sense of awe and spirituality, whether it's a, Gothic cathedral or a, beautiful mosque, or temple, or any number of any
mhm,
religion really. So
right.
architecture is certainly powerful on our mindset for sure.
Mhm.
How else well, maybe first you could talk about that. How does it affect our mind, or our wellness, as far as our mental wellness? Are there any things on that you can speak about?
Uh, you mean in the space? Oh,
Yeah, like architecture, like how a well architected space can make me feel relaxed and comfortable,
right.
whereas something that's like maybe the windows aren't straight and the roof is angled, and it creates a sense of tension or unease or something like that. I guess that contributes to our mental health as well, right? Or just our sense of stress or something in the environment there, right?
Right. I think we were evolved as a humans in the forest and ever changing environment, and we're used to it. And anything that's square or anything that limits us or gives us the same space over and over again, uh, that's not healthy, because we need to kind of mimic the dynamic, mimic the diversity around us. Um,
Yeah, what are you most excited about architecture and wellness and health? I know you went to a big conference
right.
recently, and what do you think are the exciting opportunities that, I mean, you're the first person on this podcast to speak about architecture and health, and yet it is so important. So what are you most excited about in this space?
Well, I think currently the space is a little conservative. We have a lot of areas within the space dedicated to prevention of infectious disease. And mostly that is because when we were born, every person alive today, when we were born, it was already known how to solve the problem on infectious disease on a big scale, right? Not exactly every disease, but we knew it's a combination of vaccinations and hygiene, and everybody accepted it. And if you look at our, let's say, my home, you have a bathroom and you have a sink and a toilet and a kitchen and refrigerator and stove, and all these things, they in some way dedicated to prevention disease of aging. And we brush teeth and wash hands and take shower and use deodorants. All that is prevention of infectious disease, and it's built into our everyday life. But what about disease of aging? I think a lot of people hope that they can be resolved by curing it. But most of the infectious disease we cannot cure up to this day. We just decided that that's okay, and we just finance the prevention of them, and that's how we solve the problem. And when we talk about financial, like the government financial, it all goes to prevention, and nobody's questioning, and proportions of how much is, even for COVID, how much money was spent on prevention of spread COVID, and how much was spent, and how much effort medical community spent of curing it. It's unproportional, right? Because it was civil responsibility to prevent the spread of it. It's obvious. But somehow when we talk about cancer and disease of aging, the same logic does not apply, and so much more funds and government money goes into curing it and not into prevention. Even we kind of know that the answer will be very similar. There's some types of cancer, some kind of disease we will not cure. We will just agree, live with it, but we will very well know in the future how to prevent it. And most likely prevention would be the cure. And yet, at the modern day, everybody is focusing on cure. I think it's just reaction. You see somebody in suffering, you see somebody diagnosed with something, and we're trying to cure. But it's like, if you look at the history of medicine for a few hundred years, it would obviously be visible as an immature because you have to stop the cause, which is prevented.
Yeah.
And right, and as with infectious disease, half of it is hygiene, something people do every day: brushing your teeth, taking the shower, washing your hands. And my question is, okay, what is that for disease of aging or for longevity? What kind of hygiene do we need to do, and how do we need to change our space so we can live longer and prosper? So my project, it is a research of what that is, because I don't have an answer, but I'm sure that the answer would be half in some kind of therapies that I know some doctors working on it, some researchers, but the other half would be in the space and in hygiene and everyday routine people would do. And that's
Yeah.
what my interest is.
Yeah, certainly what you're saying has been echoed by many of the experts we've had on this program and elsewhere, in that the chronic diseases that represent 80% of our healthcare costs and expenditures are best treated with prevention, and we're not doing enough for that. And lifestyle is a way to prevent them, and the environment through our architecture is the way we do it. Is another way to do it that we can add on. Now, although architecture and longevity and health is really at the cutting edge, it's very, very new, although it shouldn't be, but it is. We can look towards other models in other areas with architecture to maybe get some insight. For example, we've talked off camera a little bit about the LEED program. In other words, it's a certification for sort of environmentally sound thing in architecture, and you get certification. Maybe you could speak a little bit about that, and then possibilities. Will there be a health longevity certification, or there may be one already that you mentioned before as well?
Yeah, well, LEED stands for Leadership Energy Environmental Design, and it's a rating system that evaluates how building would affect the environment. And it came out about 25 years ago. Now it's a standard. All large projects try to follow that. And also it's incorporated in California Building Code. It's called Cal Green, California Green. So any building built would qualify for LEED, at least silver. There are 4 levels: silver, gold, platinum. But every building would be at least LEED. That's now building code. So it took 25 years to get to the codes, but now it's pretty much standard. And there are some things there like water filtration, air filtration that would also affect people. But there is another rating, it's called WELL, W-E-L-L. It's very similar to LEED, but it's more focused on operations on the building, not on construction. And it is looking at the health and wellness. And I love it. I think it's great first step. And I would recommend to incorporate it in any new building or renovation office. And it also looking at the water quality and air quality. But it's a younger system. It's just published first time maybe 7 years ago, so it's not that well known. There was a conference in Long Beach just 2 weeks ago. I actually went and I published a YouTube story about the conference. But one of the interviews I took with the organizer, I asked her, how do you evaluate wellness of the occupants? How do you know if your rating system actually affected people in a positive way? And she said, we do surveys. We do surveys and we maybe tap to people's iPhones and get some information. And I believe this is great. This is definitely better than nothing. And this is the first step. But truly, we can do better, and it can be done when you can actually do blood work and specific testing to see how it affects people. And with that, conventional medicine is very hard because if you're, let's say you take the test, and if you're okay for your age, it's hard to say what to do because you're just okay. But if you look at their age reversal or longevity medicine, there is a lot of testing that gives you your biological age versus your physiological age. And if you, let's say, install water filtration system, or you have some other artwork, and you do the test before and after, and you would see an average person occupying the building if they became younger by the test. So I think that testing, it's more convenient to prove that your design or your idea is actually affecting people, because you can get numerical results going beyond just testing. Yeah.
So for this WELL system, which is sort of a health longevity analog to the LEED system, which is for environmental buildings, the WELL system is sort of for health and wellness in buildings. And so what you're saying is that right now, the correlations with actual health benefits are based on self-reported surveys, right? With people using it. Well, the WELL system, what are some of the things it gets right? In other words, what are things that's good about it? You know, that it, I mean, I guess it's good that we're even having a conversation about architecture and health. So what are some of the rules or the recommendations of the WELL system that you think are correct and beneficial, that are doing good currently?
Well, again, definitely water testing and air testing. It's very complicated, sophisticated, and they require to do it, I think, every 2 years or every 6 months. It depends on what are you testing. So they actually can confirm that your environment is not harming people. Also, the daylight, the sound, quality of the views, quality of space in itself, acoustics. So they do very comprehensive testing on all these things.
Wow, that's true. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So in addition, they limit, they're not like, I thought, like last year I went also on the conference and I talked to one lady who is a client, which is like hospital. And she said, oh, we really wanted to do WELL certification for the hospital, but we could not because we have McDonald's downstairs. And well, it's a mandatory. You cannot have any fast food and be well. It's just, you cannot have, even your vending machines can only carry healthy snacks. And my office I used to work for, we did WELL certificate, and we all used to provide, I don't drink it, but they provided Coca-Cola and other sodas for free. And they said, you can, but you have to do very small size. You cannot do the average size. You have to do tiny, small ones. So it would prevent people to drink so much. But you don't get any points. But if you want to get your credits high score, then you cannot provide it at all. So they're very specific, and they require to have a washing machine, dishwasher, so you can actually bring your own food and all these things. They also ask you for daylight, for skylights, for fresh air, so people would be able to individually control the temperature.
Uh-huh.
All
Oh,
these things
that's
are done very well. I would say if you look at what mainstream medicine would teach you to do, they have everything incorporated. It's just these ideas of health and wellness go beyond the mainstream that are not there. But obvious, because they have to be mainstream to be, right? They cannot bring controversial things in there.
well, so as far as the, I like what you said, though. I mean, that's encouraging with the air testing, the water
Yeah.
testing. Is the air testing, do they test for mold, and they test for
Yes.
lead, and
Mhm.
kind of the usual obvious things, I guess, in there. And then, so it seems like there's a lot of good
Yeah.
in the well testing. Now, what do you think it could do better, or where does well, are there any recommendations that you don't agree with, or what would you like to see in a better well system or a new system?
Well, first, as I said, I would love to see the testing to be more complex and going beyond just what people are reporting. Second, I think we really missing on social aspects, and people don't socialize a lot, and they're very lonely, and we really need to focus on that. And I think the space should have any healthy, good space, whether it's your home or it's office or it's a hospital, should have different various places for groups to socialize from one person. Some introverts, they need to be alone, two people, three, five, 2,500. We need to be able to gather in different size groups, and I don't think that aspect is really developed there.
So a lot of opportunities. And well is good, but it could be a lot better
Right.
with new things on it.
And of course, all the ideas that go in regards to longevity and hallmarks of aging, and all the therapies we're talking about, from like ice showers to infrared saunas to uh, meditation rooms, and all other ideas you would find on longevity conferences. I think they should be at least listed there and given to people as an opportunity to um, incorporate in the space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of very exciting possibilities.
Mhm.
You mentioned the architecture sort of wellness conference that you went to. Is there any other exciting things there? Any other things that jumped out at you? Certainly, the well program is really is in this space and is a great opportunity, it sounds like, for improvement. Any other things at that conference that really resonated with you?
Uh, like I went on a conference a few years ago, and I met Sandra Kaufman. I think she was also on your podcast a few weeks ago, and I really love her book, and I love her rating system that's called Kaufman Protocol. Because to me it just kind of helped to put everything in order, and it can really compare, let's say, vitamins, supplements, and what you can do at home, right? You can compare, like, for example, magnesium as a vitamin versus a meditation versus a different lighting system for you to help go to sleep, so you can kind of gauge different things and have one common kind of protocol to compare them. I really love what she's talking about. I would love to follow her ideas and apply them to the architectural space.
Yeah, Sandra Kaufman is a great resource, and she's just
Mhm.
come out with a sequel book to the
Oh,
Kaufman
great.
Protocol that's
Mhm.
available now as well. But yeah, she's been on our program a couple times and is a
Mhm.
wonderful resource. I always learn something when I talk to her. Um, Earlier, you mentioned about your YouTube channel that you're setting up. What sort of thing? What do you hope to accomplish with that, and what sort of things do you have on it?
Well, I kind of have two programs. One is unboxing, that when I go on any conference or any wellness space and I research new ideas or new products on the market, and they may or may not be actually helpful, but I really want to unbox them and test them and share them with the audience. And the second, the tours, because a lot of spaces, people don't really see them. For example, American Institute of Architecture, they organize tours every year. The best houses that's been developed by architects, they open for one day and you can tour them. And so I did these tours last year, and I did yesterday, or Saturday, 2 days ago actually. And so I am trying to evaluate them from standpoint of health and wellness, basically looking for any ideas that's incorporated that I believe would contribute to the well room or well space, and to highlight them, or how was it done, how what is researched. I also went to Japan a few weeks ago, and I did a few tours of Airbnbs and hotels there, also from health and wellness standpoint. So
Ah, ah.
that's the idea for the channel. So half would be unboxing of items you can bring in the house, and half would be examples of nice, good architecture, nice spaces, highlighting what there can be seen or used as a well area. It can be incorporated in some people's spaces.
Yeah, I'd be curious, what are you finding? What are the big wellness misses in what are the best architecture here or in Japan? What are you finding that even these examples of the best architecture, what are they missing in your mind? Are there common things they miss as far as from the health and wellness perspective that they get
Uh,
wrong?
Well, some me, some don't. Like yesterday, we saw one house. I was amazed. It got so many points. Indoor kitchen, outdoor kitchen, outdoor swimming pool and a hot tub, and fire pit with a group of people. And there were so many spaces. You can be there alone in a group, 2, 3, 5, 20, 30 people. There are accommodations for different groups. And then upstairs, they also had a steam room. So there was a lot of healthy ideas there. What I would say missing is, I think, relationship to the sun. Ironically, that's what Egyptians got right, right? When they had the temples building to the sun path. And nowadays, sometimes I go and they could have had a small balcony up on the roof facing sunset or sunrise. It wouldn't be difficult to do, but usually it's not considered as a valuable option.
So you think in your mind, it's necessary, it's valuable from a health perspective to have architecturally a space that's oriented towards either the rising or the setting sun? Is that
Not
that you could?
not the space, but I think that we know now that it's very important to have a very good sleep, deep sleep, and the light that we have, electrical light that's very white and it's not red, it doesn't help us, right? And doesn't uh, kind of prevent us from sleeping, and perhaps even taking vitamins or supplements wouldn't compensate for that. And the opposite, looking at the sun, because sun has a certain color in the morning and at night that help us set our circadian rhythm and fall asleep better in a natural way, right? So just having little place for meditation where you can go and see that sunrise or sunset, if possible, I think could contribute to health. Not necessarily arranging the entire building, no, but just have a view. Sometimes putting a window, a little small balcony in a certain orientation, so you could get out and see it if you want, if you feel tired or if you don't feel like sleeping or too stressed. I believe that would be very helpful, but sometimes it's not difficult to add, it's just totally missing from.
Well, this is such a fascinating area, and I think we're just really scraping the surface on what the possibilities are for
Mhm.
architecture and health and longevity. And I think we're going to see a lot more from this space. How can people follow you on your YouTube channel, on social media, your website? Maybe you could tell that for the people here.
Yeah, definitely. My YouTube channel called Well Room, and also my Instagram. So please follow me, and I would try to publish 1 or 2 times a week, with all the new stories on health and wellness and architecture.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, Julia, today. And thanks so much for all the great work you're doing.
Thank you for inviting me, Robert. It was a pleasure.
If you are enjoying this program, please hit that subscribe button, or even better, leave a review. Your support makes it possible for us to create the quality programming that we're continually striving for.
Can I start? Is it recording?
It's already recording.
Oh, sorry. This is for general information and educational purposes only, and it's not intended to constitute or substitute for medical advice or counseling. The practice of medicine or the provision of healthcare, diagnosis, or treatment, or the creation of a physician-patient or clinical relationship. The use of this information is at their own user's risk. If you find this to be on the value, please hit that like button to subscribe to support the work that we do on this channel. And we take your suggestions and advice very seriously, so please let us know what you'd like to see on this channel. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time. You should say that.
No, that's good. That's good. You like it? You want to do it one more time, or is that good? I think that was good.
Yes.
All right.
You need to save the recording.
Very good.